The man who drives this car has a net worth of over $2 million. You wouldn't know it if you walked past him on the sidewalk. He doesn't wear a designer watch. He doesn't carry himself like he owns the pavement beneath his feet. If you met him in a neighborhood barbecue, he'd probably let you do most of the talking, nodding quietly while you explain your job, your latest vacation, or your plans for the weekend. His neighbors privately wonder if his household is struggling a bit, mostly because his garage door has needed a fresh coat of paint since last summer, and he still uses a push mower he bought at a yard sale in 2018. But while those same neighbors are collectively spending $900 a month to lease a status symbol they can barely afford, his sedan has been fully paid off for over a decade. And that difference, it isn't just a few $100, it's the hidden engine of his freedom. Because while everyone else on his street is running on a relentless treadmill of high-interest debt to impress an audience that isn't even paying attention, his saved capital is quietly working in the dark. It is sitting in boring index funds, local real estate, and unglamorous cash-flowing assets, making him money while he sleeps. Most people spend their entire lives playing a high-stakes game called looking rich. They perform wealth for people they don't like, using money they don't have to buy things they don't need. But there's a small, quiet group playing a completely different game. The first rule of stealth wealth: true financial power doesn't need an audience. The moment you stop performing, you finally start building. Think about the first time you got a raise. Maybe you went from making $35,000 a year to $50,000. Or maybe you finally crossed that six-figure mark. You read the offer letter, you sat in your car in the parking lot, and you felt this massive weight lift off your chest. For a second, there was peace. But then, almost immediately, the performance began. You decided you outgrew your old apartment. You decided the kitchen table you bought off Craigslist didn't match the new walls. You upgraded the car because successful people don't drive things with dings on the bumper. You didn't do it because the old car stopped running. You did it because you felt watched. This is the middle-class performance trap. It is the most expensive psychological trick in the world. When you get a raise, society tells you that your lifestyle must rise to meet it. If you make $80,000, you must live like an $80,000 person. If you make $150,000, your weekends, your clothes, and your grocery store choices must reflect that altitude. But here is what they don't tell you. Lifestyle inflation is a tax on your future self. It ensures you stay a prisoner of your own paycheck, no matter how many commas are on the pay stub. You trade your actual freedom for the temporary appearance of it. You put a premium patio set on a credit card and tell yourself it's fine because you have a direct deposit hitting every 2 weeks. But then, next month has an emergency dentist bill. The month after has a broken water heater. Suddenly, you're still doing the exact same stressful math you did when you were broke. You're just doing it in a nicer house under taller ceilings with a much higher credit limit. You've gone pro at the exact same trick, making need look like choice. You just upgraded the aisle. Let's look at the cold, hard math of silence. Imagine two people, person A and person B. Both of them earn $100,000 a year. After taxes, they're taking home roughly $72,000. Person A buys the performance. They lease the luxury SUV for $800 a month. They live in a high-rent apartment downtown to feel close to the action. They buy the designer wardrobe, and they go to dinners where they order the expensive wine just because they want the waiter and their colleagues to see them do it. After their heavy overhead, their auto leases, and their social commitments, they manage to save about $300 a month. After 25 years of compounding that $300 in a standard index fund at 8% return, they have roughly $285,000. It's survivable, but it's tight. It means they're still entirely dependent on their job to maintain their lifestyle. Now look at person B. Person B buys silence. They drive the 10-year-old sedan. They live in a modest neighborhood where the lawns are green, but nobody's keeping score. They cook at home, they buy high-quality goods that last for years instead of chasing trends, and they route $2,000 a month directly into their investments. After 25 years at that same 8%, person B's quiet discipline has compounded into nearly $2 million. Same starting income, two completely different lives. Person A spent 25 years managing a lifestyle. Person B spent 25 years buying back their own time. One has a heated steering wheel and the monthly payment, the other has their entire calendar. The third rule: The fastest way to get rich is to let your money grow in the dark where nobody's counting it but you. When you think of a millionaire, what do you picture? Most people picture a tech founder in a sleek glass high-rise or a real estate mogul in a tailored suit boarding a private jet. We're trained by social media to believe that wealth is glamorous, high-tech, and incredibly complex. But the truth is much dirtier and much simpler. The wealthiest person in your neighborhood probably doesn't own a tech startup. They likely own a local commercial cleaning service, or 3 self-storage facilities on the edge of town, or a portfolio of local laundromats and vending machine routes that keep running whether the stock market is up or down. These are what we call boring businesses. They are unglamorous. They are dirty. Nobody boasts about owning a self-storage facility at a high-end cocktail party. It doesn't sound sexy. But these businesses have 2 things that flashy startups rarely have: consistent demand and massive cash flow. While the tech founder is burning through venture capital and worrying about their next valuation round, the boring business owner is quietly collecting $10, $15, or $20,000 a month in profit. They don't have to pitch investors. They don't have to post on LinkedIn about their journey. They just collect the cash, route it into their index funds, and go home to their families. When your wealth is tied to cash flow rather than status, your entire relationship with money changes. You stop looking at money as a tool to show off and start looking at it as a tool to buy assets that buy you more time. The 4th rule: stop chasing sexy opportunities. Find the boring, unglamorous problems in your local area, solve them quietly, and reinvest the profits in silence. There's a silent, heavy cost to being seen that the spreadsheets never capture. When you climb the social ranks, when you cross 6 figures, when you buy the house with the manicured lawn and park the brand new luxury vehicle in the driveway, you're not just buying comfort, you're buying an audience. Suddenly, you stop being just a person to the world around you, and you start being viewed as a resource. An old friend calls after 2 years of silence, and it takes them 9 minutes of polite small talk to get to the actual ask. You spend all 9 minutes waiting for it, hating that you had to listen to people with that level of suspicion. A family member's business idea suddenly becomes urgent and they expect you to fund it. Another relative's bad financial decision becomes your moral obligation to solve. Every warm interaction in your life suddenly comes with a transaction fee. But when you drive a 10-year-old sedan, that noise never starts. The dent on the passenger door and the faded paint keep those expectations from ever forming. Nobody looks at your modest car and think about their own unpaid bills. Nobody expects you to cover the entire tab at dinner, and nobody targets you with a pitch for their next high-risk venture. Invisibility is the ultimate shield. It allows you to know, with absolute, undeniable certainty, that the people in your life actually want to be there for you, and not for the numbers on your ledger. At the end of the day, the biggest wealth gap isn't between the rich and the poor. It's between the people who own things and the people whose things own them. The man in the 10-year-old sedan didn't stop upgrading his life because he couldn't afford it. He stopped because he realized that the price of the upgrade was his peace. He looked at the $90,000 SUV, did the math on the hours of his life he would have to trade to maintain that performance, and decided his time was worth more than a metal badge on the steering wheel. True wealth isn't about having everyone look at you. It's about reaching a point where you don't care if they look at all. It's the quiet confidence of knowing your bills are paid, your future is secure, and your calendar belongs entirely to you. So let the neighbors keep score. Let them run on their treadwills. Your job isn't to win their game. Your job is to step off the court entirely. My name is Jack, and this is Stealth Ledger. If you're ready to stop performing and start building your wealth in silence, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And let me know in the comments below, are you still playing the performance game, or are you ready to build the wealth nobody sees? Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the quiet.